Oh God, I've got that storm here.
I was gonna say it sounds like a wild one.
Oh man, it was brutal. It was so I left like 15. I left work 15 minutes early to try and miss it because it was tracking the bomb, and I just got caught in the thick of it. It was hail, it was rain, it was wind. There were frogs falling from the sky.
Wow.
I
love that
like
movie.
my jeans were soaked, and my socks.
So wait,
were
you weren't
soaked.
driving, you were walking. You were
I
running.
walk to and from work every day.
Oh.
And I had a raincoat on, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
Mm. Yeah, you can
And-
see in your hair the kind of frazzle and moisture of a weather experience.
Yeah. And then, you know what I did? I had this weird hankering for lollies.
Okay. Like snakes. Like jubes.
Tubes?
Jubes, sugar jubes. Like frogs.
I know what they are. Tubes were big in my family. There was a weird choice. No, like just a natural confection party mix.
Yeah, natural confection make jubes.
No, they don't.
Yes,
That's
they
Pascal's.
do. No,
that's Pascal's.
They do. They
Look
do.
it up.
Fucking look it up.
Give it
you
a
look it
Goog.
up. I'm right. You look it up.
Oh yeah, I'll look it up because I'm wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll look up. What do I Google? Natural confectionery.
Natural
jubes?
confectionery. I believe they're called fruit salad.
Sorry, I thought they were called jubes.
Yeah, a jube is a type of lolly. They come in different shapes.
Wrong. Pascal's.
Why are you looking up Pascal?
Because it's jubes.
Natural
You
confectionery company. That's what we're talking about.
Look at this. Pascal's jubes.
I know that Jubes
You
exist, but
lose,
Jubes is
buddy.
not a brand. Jube is a like frogs is not a brand. Lots of
Sorry.
different places make frogs.
Sorry.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Jubes is a brand.
Jubes. No, but Jubes is a descriptor. Jubes isn't it's not like a fucking Oreo.
This-
It's not a trademark.
Look at this.
It's
This
not
is
a
not a-
trademark. It's not a trademark. It's a descriptor. Snakes is not a trademark. Different companies make snakes.
Refuse to accept. In the 8 years that we've been
You
doing
are-
this, you have never admitted once that you've been wrong.
That is not
once.
true. That
Well,
is
not-
not true, and I continue to not be wrong in this moment. The jube is a type of lolly. It is a type. It is like a snake. You can get snakes from Pascal. You can get snakes at the corner shop, Snakes is just a shape. Jubes is just a shape. Different brands.
A jube is a shape?
A jube is a shape. A jube is a shape like a frog is a shape and a snake is a shape. All of these lollies.
It's Allen's snakes.
Yes,
It's
but not only
Pascal's
Allen's make
jubes.
snakes.
It's Balfour's frogs.
It's very much other people make these as well, right?
You are
can't
so
think.
wrong.
You can't
And
think.
look,
you can't.
look,
You can't
honestly-
think that Balfour's are
honestly-
the only place on the planet that make fucking frogs. There are frogs over here. There are frogs
Honestly,
over here.
I feel sorry for you.
I feel
Because
sorry
this
for
is just
you.
pathetic.
Everyone at home right now thinking, Michael, this is just another example of you being embarrassingly wrong, and I feel sorry for you.
Well, I guess we both feel sorry for each other.
I think that's very consistent with this podcast.
Can you hear those trams go by the way?
Yeah, I can. Now, do we need to address... Okay.
See, this is the thing. Because you have control over the edit, you can just rewrite history
I would never...
to corral the audience into your sweet little pocket of fake news.
So, sorry. Just remind me, who makes snakes and who makes frogs? Allen's makes snakes
Yeah.
and frogs, is that right?
No, nowhere on these does it say jube. It says soft jellies.
Soft
Which
jellies.
is, incidentally, is what I have in my phone.
Sorry, I'd like to present your attention to Exhibit B in the chat there. Would the defendant please just read out the brand name of the bags on display there, please?
So it's 3 bags, Natural Confectionery Company.
Natural Confectionery Company.
Frogs,
Okay, thank you, sir.
fruit basket.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please
and snakes.
Please allow the prosecution
Alan's made
to
the first
continue.
snake.
Please allow the
Alan's-
prosecution to present their case. Otherwise, you'll be in contempt of court. Do you
Well,
understand?
I don't know legal. I don't know if this is correct. So yeah, I'll just do whatever you say.
Thank
I
you.
don't have
So
a law degree.
we have from the defendant there the brand of
Am I the defendant?
the brand of the brand of the lolly on display there, Natural Confectionery Company. Yes, and then what is the type of lolly there on the leftmost bag there, bag number 1? What type is contained in that plastic delicious bag there?
Frogs.
It does say frogs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And on the
Frogs.
right there, on bag number 3, what shape of lolly is contained in that bag?
Snakes.
Snakes, are they? So the Natural Confectionery Company, by all accounts, seem to produce frogs and snakes. Is that correct?
Yes, but were they the original?
I rest my case.
You're resting your case.
Your Honor, send him to prison.
bit early. Bit early. To be
Send
resting
him to
your case.
prison.
Prison.
Not just
lolly
jail.
liar.
The lolly.
The lolly liar.
A breakthrough today in the lolly liar case. Defendant Zabrecki forced to admit the Natural Confectionery Company makes snakes. They've been snake makers all along.
What a fun headline.
Welcome to Deep Fort, everyone. Hey, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. My spirits are lifted, and soon, so too will yours be. Weird sentence structure. Sitting through the internet with me this week, my friend Michael. Hey.
Hello, little boys and girls. I don't know what that was.
That's right, no takebacks. And I'm Nick. Hi. Hey. Ho.
Let's go. Hey, it'll be Christmas time next pod, right?
Next pod. This is it. We're one to go, and then it's it's Christmas bonanza.
Wow. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe we should make greeting cards and read them out to each other.
Okay. Well, I think last year you sent me a Christmas card that arrived like early the following year or something.
Yeah, I think it probably was a little bit delayed by the COVID stuff. Yeah, I did. I sent a lot of cards out over that Christmas break. That was the one where I was stuck in New Zealand, as I will be again this year. Though hopefully not for much longer, because as of early January, New Zealanders who are returning, or people coming into New Zealand from Australia who are double vaxxed don't have to go into paid managed quarantine for 2 weeks. We can just self-isolate at home. So it'll,
Is that right?
Yeah, it'll open it all back up, and we're intending to go home next year. So yeah, it's
I feel
exciting.
like they could have fast tracked that for Christmas.
I think they deliberately didn't. A, because they're wanting to incentivize a lot of vaccinations. And B, I think because they're a little worried that all that transit might overwhelm the system a bit if it was to get out of hand.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
Yeah, last time we spoke, there was no Omicron. Are you worried about this Omicron?
Yes. Do you say Omicron? I've been saying
I don't-
Omicron.
I've been saying Omicron, but
Okay.
that was the first time I said Omicron.
Did you want to try it out? How'd it feel?
I like it.
Okay, Omicron. Yeah, there was no variants. Well, there were variants.
Now,
there wasn't that.
Are we worried about this?
No.
Is this a thing?
No.
We're not.
I'm not.
You
Are
heard it
you?
here first, folks.
Are you?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I've been reading.
If it's milder, what's the problem?
I don't know that it's... Well, it's not milder, but it isn't causing any
No one's
worse...
died from it, have
It's not causing any worse symptoms. I did read a thing. I actually bookmarked this a little bit because I wanted to talk about it. I was reading coverage from a vaccine research and developing scientist guy on Twitter.
Yep.
And they were saying there's no plausible scenario where Omicron will take us back to square one. And a lot of misinformation is out there and circulating.
Cool.
But wanted
That's
to
good.
say that despite what you might hear, there's yet to be a variant that isn't susceptible to the vaccines.
Right.
So basically, at this point, no one knows if it's more transmissible. So that's just like bad reporting. Any sort of suggestion it's out competing Delta or displacing it is bad reporting. It's just the case that in some of these places there hasn't been Delta there at all. So saying that it's like a dramatically higher incidence of Omicron versus Delta is just irrelevant, because Delta levels might not have even gotten to that country beforehand. So that's true in places like South Africa, and it means there's basically a void there in which a variant could get hold, and that's what we're seeing with some of that stuff.
Okay.
And then the thing that just came through today, which I saw, was that preliminary data showed that Pfizer's vaccine is only slightly less effective at preventing infection with Omicron than Delta, 90% effectiveness as opposed to 95%, and it's as effective in preventing serious symptoms, so 93% for those who are, recently vaccinated or boosted. So by all accounts.
What about AstraZeneca? Does it have the information for that?
I'm not sure about AstraZeneca.
Well, that's the one I got, so that's the one I care about.
I mean, this is the thing. So there is no variant so far that hasn't been susceptible to, or hasn't been, the vaccines haven't been effective against. So some of the spread of things in like South Africa, which might have made it seem like it was dramatically worse, is also in a place where it's only 24% fully vaccinated. So like if you've got a lot of unvaccinated individuals in these poorer or developing countries, then you're just more likely to see any of the COVID variants that get in taking hold, because ultimately it's just all about vaccination rates worldwide, right?
Why are we seeing more mutations popping up in South Africa?
Well, they didn't,
because they have a lower.
Well, it's not that it's necessarily originated in South Africa. That's again another misconception. There's only a few places around the world which have the scientific resources and labs dedicated to investigating this kind of stuff well. And South Africa is actually world leading in terms of the labs that it's got there, or at least on par with maybe 2 or 3 others. So they're just the people that found it. They're not the place that it necessarily arose. They're just the ones that checked it.
That's a bad system.
It's really bad reporting.
Hold on, we discovered it. All right, we'll name it after you.
Well, it's not named after them, obviously. That's why they made it the Greek alphabet stuff, to try and avoid the kind of bigotry or prejudice against those kind of nations.
Well, we know it was you, South Africa.
Okay, sure. But yeah, no, they shouldn't be blamed at all for it or held responsible. They're the ones that found it and told the world about it. They're the ones who actually did the work.
I heard that it was because they had a lower vaccination rate, so it allowed for more mutations over there. But I guess that's Africa in general.
That's everywhere. And that's why the selfishness of like the US binning so many, like over-ordering vaccines and then binning so many vaccines is ultimately so self-defeating, because... And it's not just US, it's like all over the world. Any of the richer Western countries which are not actively trying to get the rest of the world vaccinated as well, trying to donate as much money, time, and resources into it, is doomed to fail, because it comes back. If you don't squash it out everywhere as fast as you can, as soon as you can, then all those places where they're not immunized, it just grows and bubbles and mutates and ends up back infecting your population again. So... yeah, you got to treat it like a worldwide problem with worldwide tactics.
Yeah.
But no, to go back to the original point, I don't think it's anything too worrisome.
Cool. Well, just another media hullabaloo.
Yeah. Yeah. How have you been otherwise? Have you been sort of winding down towards the end of the year?
Work is winding up, but I'm taking a decent chunk of time off for the holidays, because it'll be the fourth time that I've booked a trip to go back home to Adelaide and had it cancelled.
So you've just had it cancelled again, or this is your 4th booking and you don't know yet if it will or will not go ahead?
I believe it will go ahead at this point, although South Australia's just opened its borders to interstate to people from Victoria and New South Wales, and now they have an outbreak already of 18 cases in Unley, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I guess we just need to wait and see. You never know. I'm hoping this government will kind of stay the course, stay strong, not get spooked, not feel pressured.
Which one? The South Australian government?
Yeah, Marshall. But he seems pretty level-headed, so I like my chances this time.
It's just a question, I think, of behaviours, because I think given South Australia has had so little in the way of cases, they are probably a little bit overconfident or blasé when it comes to that sort of stuff, because they haven't had to deal with months and months of lockdowns and masks and all this kind of thing. I know my parents have been very good when it comes to being cautious in the workplace and that sort of stuff. They haven't gone back into the office basically all this time, even though it was technically possible, just to play it safe. And I think they are very much in the minority, and that a lot of people have been just living their best lives. But now that the borders are open, they might have to quickly adjust some of their behaviours and social distancing and that kind of thing to deal with it all.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to going back. And as I said a couple of months ago, I'm buying a car with my folks, so...
And you still haven't picked it up?
Nope.
Yeah.
That'll be that was part of the going back before. But yeah, hopefully I'll have a car soon. Anyway, okay, a couple of things.
Okay.
One thing. Actually, many things, Nick. Many.
Okay.
Had some good feedback on the last episode.
Okay, good.
Good feedback on the clip that we put up. By the way, maybe I should give an update on that real quick, because we cut off. The gym story got unresolved.
In the podcast, I cut it early, yeah.
Right. Was it not resolved in the clip? I don't think it was.
No, the gym story is fully told on the video clip, which you can find on our Instagram and our Facebooks, but which I left I picked a funnier out for the podcast.
Sure. Well, just a minor update to that. I found a new gym. It wasn't that. It wasn't Anytime Fitness. I've gone with another one entirely. I'm not going to say the name of it, so this is not a great update.
Okay, so is it a spin cycle? Are you doing hot yoga? Is it just...
I'm doing hot yoko, hot cocoa.
I'm just having hot cocos.
A lot of hot cokes. But no, I've got a gym. So
is it a chain? Like if you move,
breathe a sigh of relief. No, it's an independent. No sign-up fees.
Independ is not a great abbreviation, because you've already said 3/4 of the word. Like you're saving one syllable.
I love it. I love saving one syllable. That's
One
my
syllable.
new favorite thing. Syllab. One syllab. No sign-up fees. Just a card fee, month by month. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
So
have you been?
the boy will be yoked in noked time.
Okay, so you added more syllables to know.
Dude, I don't care. I do not care. I do what I want with my words. Okay? I don't care.
Okay.
I don't make sense.
I didn't suggest you
That's
did
my
care.
choice.
I
don't care.
Well, I didn't say that you did. I just don't know why you're being so defensive.
I'm arguing against myself.
Okay, well, I'm arguing with you.
With me, yes.
Yes, I'm on your side.
You're on my side. That's what I keep saying. Fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, okay, so next thing that was on my list of to-dos.
So just for anyone out there wondering whether Mike would ever find a gym, the answer is yes, but where and what it is, who knows?
That's private. That's
private.
Absolutely private information. And how dare you for asking, actually.
On this podcast, we don't disclose anything of that nature. Nothing personal.
No details. We just talk in silhouettes.
Yeah.
Well,
this is
a
a
good
character.
What?
We're playing characters. This is not who we are. This is fully scripted.
Yeah, I think we're playing exaggerated versions of myself. Like I'm not this dumb in real life. Like Nick, like back me up. I'm I play like a stupid kind of guy, but I'm not. I'm really smart.
We did say stupid correctly then for the first time in fucking ever. So maybe you're not. Maybe all of this was just a character.
It
It would be comforting in some ways.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the truth is that it is both a character and real life. And I don't know when one starts and one ends. Wow. Anyway,
Deep thoughts.
so Dave Stewart, who I mentioned on the podcast last episode, he had some feedback. Well, he didn't have some feedback. He had a comment which I found very rude.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I figured out the secret to listening to your podcast. 1.5 speed."
I knew you were going to say that.
How rude is that?
If it's still counting as a listen, I say do whatever floats your boot.
All right. Well, which leads me to my third point.
I would like to say, Dave, that I do my best to keep it tidy, keep it edited, up those laughs and take out some ums and here and there. I smooth out some of this to try and make it as palatable or digestive.
And I try and talk really quickly.
You often do say things very fast.
I say things a little bit very fast.
Okay, you slowed down to make the noise.
Fast.
Yeah.
This very fast. I'm Greek.
Okay.
All right, I got a story for you.
Okay.
You want a story?
Well, we're sorry. I should have buckled up because this has been a ride to a lot of different places very quickly.
This is Too Fast, Too Furious 5.
I feel like I want to also circle back to the clip that we posted about the gym because you did make a slanderous accusation in that clip as to the tissue behaviors of a certain flatmate.
No, I saw his comment.
Do you want to plant some context here?
Okay, so yes, last week I accused Casper of sneezing into his hand. Even when I provided a tissue, he, I just basically retold an exact, like to the detail, an exact moment that happened. I passed him a tissue while he was in a sneeze attack. He took the tissue with his left and sneezed into his right hand. Now he just said on Facebook that never happened. This is slanderous. Didn't back it up with anything, just said that.
Yeah,
so
he had no videos of the moment in question. There was no contemporaneous diary entries from the people involved, so he had no proof.
Thank you.
So it's his word against yours. And obviously, when it comes to remembering the details of stories and correctly understanding reality, we need to take the expert.
This is because I got confused watching your show, isn't it?
Well, I think the more egregious one is James Bond. Spoilers, we're doing spoilers.
Yes, well, I've been telling everyone that he dies in the end just to get ahead of it. Ruining everyone's experience. I know that he dies in the end. I haven't seen it. Well, I know. Just know that end didn't confuse me.
Yeah.
Not confused by the end.
No.
He dies.
I understood it on my first watch.
Yeah. Don't listen to my podcast.
Sorry.
No, that's 100% true. He's got other good qualities. Hygiene's just not one of them.
So the feud continues. Alrighty.
Yeah, it's going to make for another tense couple of weeks in the household.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was buckled up. It's Too Fast, Too Furious, 0.5. You were going on to a new destination. You had a story.
All right. So this is a story / conundrum.
Oh.
So it's like an interactive story.
Okay.
Yeah. Except there's no escape. Much like this podcast. Actually, you could just switch
1.5 speed. You're fine.
Yeah. All right. So we went out to dinner the other night.
Who's we?
Right off the bat. Who's we? Tell me who was there.
This is important.
All right. It was Lee, Dave, and Dave's mistress. Well,
mistress.
Partner. Well, partner. I think technically.
Mrs. Is that what you mean? Because a mistress is.
So, and we went out for African. You ever go out for a little African?
I mean, you can't. It's like there must have been a specific cuisine. It was not a continent. I went out the other day and I had some European. We had Dutch pancakes and pizza.
So that makes sense to me. Pizza, yeah, fair enough. All right, I'll just quickly look up what it was. I think it's Kenyan. Nyala African restaurant. Oh, Ethiopian.
Cool.
There you go. Which is in Africa, by the way.
Thank you for clarifying.
And so we went out for Africa, and so Dave's kind of a bit of a schmoozer, a bit of a, likes to talk to the staff, kind of get them going, and we're a little bit boozed up at this point, and Dave's talking to the waiter, the server, the owner. It could have been the owner. Who knows? This kind of older guy, assume an Ethiopian guy, comes over. He's like in his 50s, in like a lovely like African shirt thing that's kind of loose, that kind of sits over the top. Can you picture what I'm?
Sure. Yeah.
Like a traditional African shirt. Anyway, Dave's talking to him. Oh, I love your shirt. Oh, this is a great shirt. He's making jokes and stuff. It's all above board. At one point, though, he like rubbed this guy's belly.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Rubbed his belly. Me and Leah we're opposite each other, kind of looking at each other, going, "Oh, that's not great. Don't rub his belly." Never rub the waiter's belly.
That's. I wouldn't have thought that needed to be on the list of things not to do. Like, it's not, no shirt, no service, must wear shoes, don't touch the bellies.
Belly rubs.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a belly, but Dave just went straight in there. As if it was like just a pregnant lady that he was like, "Oh, give me a..."
Well, I mean, you shouldn't do that either. Not without permission.
Then why, I don't know. I don't know about that.
It's a choice. Okay, continue.
And so we're kind of thinking, me and Lee kind of thinking, oh, this guy's, after the belly rub, is not going to be on our side. I think we've kind of lost it here. We went from like in the schmooze pocket where it was good, but now
Now we're in the weird zone.
Yeah, now we're in the weird zone. Anyway, a couple minutes go by. 10 minutes, Dave goes up for what I assume was a piss. And he's talking to the guy up at the counter. And at this point, me and Lee are going, okay, whatever he's doing, he's making it worse.
This is Code Brown.
He's I would say code red, maybe, Nick.
Okay, well, I think I was
maybe
going
code
for like
yellow.
I was going
amber.
for like a
amber. Let's go amber.
I was going for like
just to be safe,
a poo related, like a fecal kind of. But I see some of the murky waters I may have waded into there.
Doesn't need to be said. And so we're going. Oh, anything, and whatever he's doing, he's done the shirt thing, complimented the shirt, done the belly rub. Now he's like kind of laughing with this guy. Then we're looking at them, and this guy takes off his shirt and says, "Take it." And this is like all from a distance.
What?
I know. And we're going, oh my God. He's giving him his shirt. Dave's either asked for his shirt or something. Dave then puts it on. Right? Dave's a bald, white sack of potatoes. Then walks back over and sits with us with the server's shirt on. And we're going, Dave.
And just to be clear, this is not like a uniform. Other servers and waiters in the restaurant are not wearing this. It's come from the closet.
No. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention one detail. When he was complimenting the shirt earlier in the night, the guy said, "I just got it today. This is a brand new shirt." Dave's going, "I love it. I love the colors on it." Anyway, he gives Dave his shirt. So Dave comes back, and we're going, "Dave, you can't wear that."
So what's this guy wearing? Has he swapped shirts?
So he's got like a shirt. He's got like a black shirt underneath.
Okay.
Yeah. So now he's just wearing like some black shirt, and Dave is sitting with 4 other very white people in an Ethiopian restaurant wearing a very African shirt. Right. So our food hasn't even come. It's like kind of coming out gradually as we're going. So we have this conundrum. Does Dave give back the shirt? I'm saying to him, you got to give back the shirt. because
So
you look
it's not like I'd
ridiculous.
given him money for it.
No.
Like there was
So
there was no suggestion of a trade or a purchase. This guy's
No.
just given a shirt.
he's given a shirt because Dave was insistent of how good it was. But I don't even think that Dave really loved the shirt. He was just like, that's kind of just what he does. He's just like, kind of like that. You know, he likes to, he's schmoozing. He's schmoozing, baby.
But is it schmoozing if it ends up with you with a material benefit? I thought schmoozing,
Well,
the whole point of a schmooze is to make the other person feel
Well,
like
to be
they've got
clear-
something better.
Well, yeah, but to be clear, I don't think Dave ever thought he was going to end up with this guy's shirt. Like, he wasn't after the shirt.
But at a certain point, the guy takes his shirt off and hands it to him.
Right. So then Dave sits back down and I say to him, you got to take it off. But then his girlfriend says, no, you got to keep it because it's more disrespectful if you give it back. And Lee's somewhere in the middle. So we got this conundrum. What do you do?
Lee's thinking, okay, let's cut it in half. You keep one sleeve, he keeps the other sleeve.
So we're going through scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Do you accept the shirt, say thank you, leave a big tip?
Yeah.
Do you I mean,
Attempt
this
to
guy's
return.
insisting.
Yeah.
So this guy's like coming up, bringing our food out,
Uh-huh.
and then he's saying, Dave's going, because of the pressure that we're putting on him. He's like, hey man, thank you for the shirt, but I cannot accept this. And the guy's going, no, you keep it, you keep it, you keep it. And I thought, okay, here's what you could do. You go up, you leave a decent tip, and then you fold it and just leave it on your seat, and then walk out. What do you do, Nick? What do you do in this scenario? It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. It's very hard for me
And
to
keep
see.
in mind we're probably a bottle and a half each in.
A bottle
of
and a
wine.
half each in.
So we're doing it on wine brain.
Okay.
So try and imagine wine brain.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only place that you end up wearing a server's shirt in the first place, I think. So
That's probably
that sort
very
of
true.
goes without saying. I think at that point, you have to take it. Once it's on, once you've put it on your body, you have to take it. I think your last chance to deny or return it was when he was taking it off and about to offer it to you in your hands.
Yep.
The moment you took it off him, you got to walk out with it. So I
Right.
think then returning it after you've already put it on is disrespectful. So you're stuck with
Right.
it now. The question is, what do you do in terms of compensation? Because I don't think you can walk out without giving something for it. So that's a big tip. That's like a $30 tip or something, $40 tip. Depends what you paid on a group ticket. But you've got to make sure that guy can go out and buy the shirt again.
Right. Now I think that's a very appropriate response. I'll tell you what happened. By the
Can
way,
I also just say one other thing?
Yep.
Is the shirt an import? Like, if he just bought it today, is there somewhere in town that Dave could have just gone to, like, Myers and picked up the shirt? Like it was at Country Road.
I think it's like one of the shirts that like it'd be in like an African store maybe that wouldn't be very well known to.
Sure. But there is a
Dave.
theoretical world in which he could say, where did you get that? I'd love to
Yes,
just one.
true.
What's the address? Right?
I'll just go pick up my
I'll
own.
go get my own tomorrow.
Yeah, that's another
Because
good
there's a
option.
sizing question here as well, right? Like, what are the odds that it's
Well.
actually you're the same size as this person?
Well,
was it
two
very similar?
fat guys. I mean,
Okay.
at a certain point, fat guys just wear fat guys' clothes.
Okay, I didn't realize. Yeah, okay. So that's my other thought here as well. It's like if you really wanted it, and it was something that he just bought today, then he bought it in the country. So unless it just arrived today from like a relative back home, at which point you definitely shouldn't take it. But yes, okay. Tell me what you did.
So now we're talking about what are we doing? We're doing just trying to do pricing. Just by the way, I've got plenty of pictures for the chat here.
Great. Yeah.
If people want to check it out.
Yeah.
So, I think-
Jump onto the chapter titles and have a look. You can see this shirt for yourself. Work out how much it's worth in your mind.
So we did like a $35 banquet, and then corkage like $2 a bottle. So we're getting away
Very
with
cheap.
$40 a head here,
Yep.
very cheap. So what Dave did which I think was the only thing he could have done at this point, is he went up. And by the way, we're having this discussion, and we were saying, okay, you have to go up to pay the bill. We'll all split it as we normally would, but this tip is on you.
Yeah.
And you alone.
Yeah.
He left a $100 tip.
Oh,
So
that's good on you, Dave. That's a good tip.
on you, Dave.
Yeah.
I think he redeemed it, but then he lost
your
it
total
again.
bill was probably like $120, and there was another $100 on top.
$160. Yep.
Oh yeah, 4 of you. Yeah.
But then he loses it again. Then he insists, and now this restaurant, yeah, a real roller coaster. This one, this restaurant leads out onto a very busy Friday night street in Fitzroy. And Dave, high on African vibes
And generosity.
goat, generosity, and Pinot
2 bottles of
Grigio,
wine. Yeah.
insists that he's going to wear this shirt as we walk along the street on our way home at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night. So he wears it loud and proud all the way home. And there are clubs on this street. There are bars. There are restaurants. There are innocent pedestrians just watching this extremely white man walking out down the street in an African shirt. I mean, yeah.
I think I need to see for context here. Can you hold up a photo? So I need to know what it is. Oh yes, that's very African.
It's very African, isn't it? And he's very not African.
I mean, he does look a little bit like the CEO of a tech company. Like one of those really rich white guys that's rich enough to just wear shit they want from anywhere in the world.
I mean, in 2021?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
Anyway.
I would just walk a couple of paces behind him.
Oh, we did. We crossed the street. But now he just wears the shirt. He doesn't wear it out, admittedly. He wears it in his his house, but he does wear it.
Okay, well.
Anyway, that's the
shirt
the story
conundrum.
of the Ethiopian restaurant and the shirt.
Yeah.
What are we doing next? What's on the menu?
I don't know. Have we parked? Is that the end of your narrative
That's the end of that one.
travels? Yeah.
Yep. Got a couple of other topics that we could just dive into, but maybe you take the reins.
Oh, I'd hate
chance.
to take the reins on this podcast. Do you want to talk about sperm?
Like what? Like what kind
Like
of
jizz,
sperm?
like man jizz.
Like man cream.
Yeah, like the penis stuff.
Give me, what is this about?
It's about the end
Don't
of
just
humankind, Michael.
All right, now I'm listening.
Okay. Science news!
It's that time. Time for science news.
So let me read you an article headline. It says, plummeting sperm counts, shrinking penises. Toxic chemicals threaten humanity. This article, written by, of everyone, of all of them, Erin Brockovich. The Erin Brockovich, I'm guessing, or else it's a weird coincidence.
No, I think she's around.
She would be a
She does
columnist.
stuff.
She'd be doing things. This is how the story goes. The end of humankind. It may be coming sooner than we think, thanks to hormone-disrupting chemicals that are decimating fertility at an alarming rate around the globe. A new book called Countdown by Shanna Swan, an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist, finds that sperm counts have dropped almost 60% since 1973. If you follow the trajectory we're on, Swan's research suggests sperm counts could reach 0 by 2045. 0.
What?
No babies, no reproduction, no more humans. Zero sperm by 2045. The chemicals to blame for this crisis are found in everything from plastic containers and food wrapping to waterproof clothes, fragrances and cleaning products, to soaps and shampoos, to electronics and carpeting. Some of them, called PFAs, are known as forever chemicals because they don't break down in the environment or the human body. They just accumulate and accumulate, doing more and more damage minute by minute every day. And now it seems humanity is reaching a breaking point. Swan's book is staggering in its findings. In some parts of the world, the average 20-something woman today is less fertile than her grandmother was at 35. In addition to this, Swan finds that on average, a man today will have half the sperm his grandfather had. The current state of reproductive affairs can't continue much longer without threatening human survival. It is a global existential crisis. It's not hyperbole, it's just science.
Whoa.
And if that wasn't terrifying enough, the research finds that these chemicals aren't just dramatically reducing semen quality, they're also shrinking penis size and volume of the testes. It's nothing short of nothing short of a full-scale emergency. This echoes previous research, which has found that PFAs harms sperm production, disrupts the male hormone, and is correlated to a reduction in semen quality, testicular volume, and penile length. They're literally confusing our bodies and making them send mixed messages and go haywire. So there's some laws on the books which prevent exposure to some of these things. There's been some laws passed in the US to ban these forever chemicals. But it looks like the rapid death and decline of sperm is a very serious existential threat, and arguably one to hit before climate change even kicks off, all the good stuff in the next 100 years.
Well, I mean, this is not going to affect us, though, is it?
Well,
it might affect our ability to have grandkids.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's still, I think, to this day, the fact that even, what was it? A grandmother is, a 20-something woman is less fertile than a grandmother was at 35. And men have half the sperm the grandfather had. That's already us. That's today.
So what are the chemicals? What are these ingredients?
So it's PFAs, which are, where do we have the definition here?
Pretty fun aluminum.
Oh, okay, I see why they call them PFAs. Perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances.
Substances, yeah.
Yeah, you got it right. You knew about it. I don't know why I need to explain it.
So what are those in?
Everything from plastic containers, food wrapping, waterproof clothes, fragrances and cleaning products, soaps and shampoos, electronics, carpeting, and more.
Great.
So I don't think there's really a way to avoid them without them being taken off the market but through legislation. So the EU has restricted several phthalates in toys and limits them that are considered reprotoxic, meaning they harm human reproductive capacities in food production. In the US, a scientific study found that phthalate exposure was widespread in infants, and chemicals were found in the urine of babies who came into contact with baby shampoos, lotions, and powders. But the chemical industry giants are lobbying, and they trying to keep them in supply, and so there's not been much in the way of regulation to stop them being, put in products. But
damn, I like having sperm.
Yeah,
I mean, even if it is half as much as my grandfather.
The PFAs have been found in every corner of the globe. It's virtually present in the bodies of every human, found in fish deep in the ocean and birds high in the sky. They just cycle through the environment because they never biodegrade.
I love that there's these nameless, faceless people that have done this because this didn't exist without people having done it. People trying to make money, and they have just fucked up humanity, but they'll never get any comeuppance.
No. And I mean the generations of people that come after them as well that inherit the profits of those things as well. They weren't the ones that did it, so it's not like they'll ever be called to
just gets
repay
all washed
it.
Out.
It all just disappears.
Out.
Yeah. I'm looking at the PFA's Wikipedia as well, and it's not just the reproductive health stuff as well. It's also talking about thyroid disease and cancer and pregnancy problems. Brilliant. And environmental concerns, of course, and contamination of water and all of these things. So
Great.
yeah, I don't know what's your optimism about the state of humanity. I mean, we've said that overpopulation is a problem for a while now, but what happens when it all stops completely?
It just seems like it's just like one thing after another. Like I was quite miserable before I learned about PFAs.
Yeah.
Now you've just ruined my night and my life in a way.
Personally, yep.
And yeah, personally, so it's just like relentless. And then this is outside of COVID. This is outside of climate change. Like, when do we get a break? When do we ever get a fucking break?
I think there is higher prevalence of depression and stresses in upcoming generations than previously. And I don't think it's necessarily just because we're more aware about it or more open about it. I think there are actively many good reasons for people coming up in this world and looking around them and thinking, I'm powerless to stop any of this, and it's all going to go bad.
But that's it. Does seem connected to the being more aware of it. I mean, we have grown up with over millions of years existing in small tribes and communities, and we're only aware of basically the things that are immediate threats to our immediate community. And now we are aware of everything that's happening to everyone in the world all of the time. So
Yeah,
it does
that's
make
fair.
sense that we're kind of we do have the weight of the world on our shoulders these days.
But don't you think that it's not just exposure to those events, it's also an institutional powerlessness? Like, it's a sense that some of these things, like you say, like a corporation's going to keep using a PFA if it makes a non-stick pan non-sticky, at the expense of trying to fix it because it means profits for them. And that's not something that it feels like as just a regular citizen you have much say over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's interesting because you look at something like the holes in the ozone layer, and that was a thing where it's like a chemical we were using in our fridges and that sort of stuff.
Africa, everyone.
With Lynx Africa was directly responsible for the hole in the ozone layer. But there was an era, which was I think the 80s when that was first discovered, in which they then outlawed what's it called, hydrofluorocarbons or whatever it was. No, CFCs, whatever the C stands for. They outlawed.
Chlorofluorocarbons.
Yes, they outlawed them, and then since then, the hole in the ozone layer has started to mend. And it's like there was a time in which finding out information like that was seen as a cultural embarrassment for the companies involved and a duty that needed to be taken on by the governments to clean up the mess. And I don't know if we're in that era anymore. It's more of a, well, it's not my problem kind of mentality.
Which is curious because you'd think maybe that as the world becomes more global and more connected, that we'd act more like a whole organism. Or maybe, I mean, is that counterintuitive? Do you think? Like,
Possibly.
the more connected that we are, the more aware we are of people in other parts of the world, the more we can act like a globe.
But do you think that doesn't apply to like a multinational corporation? Like for them, I think the internationalism actually allows the avoidance of responsibility in some ways because they exist outside of a nation state. They're beyond the reach of any one.
They're like things. They're like, there's like these mega things that individual people, they're the sum of individual people, but together they are just like this megalith. Is a megalith a thing?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're just like this entity, but they're not a person, but they are comprised of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Business 101 with Michael.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if you want kids, go freeze your sperm or get on it, because who knows what's happening in the future.
Jizz in a cupcake. Awkward silence.
Well,
Right?
well.
I thought you were going to close out, and then I've got another thing.
Oh, you want me to wrap up? You done?
Well, you can-
Are
I
you
don't
done?
know.
Are
I
you?
know.
You done?
I think we're done.
Can we just touch on Jon Stewart?
Okay.
Because that has been, as far as I can tell, a complete fucking whiff. Jon Stewart, right? The hero of Comedy Central for 10 years on The Daily Show, away from TV for a decade, comes back, big, new program on Apple TV. And the problem with Jon Stewart, and absolutely no one is fucking talking about it. You and I think, both watched the first episode and basically fell asleep. What a failure! I'm so surprised at seemingly how out of touch,
boring,
and
out of touch.
uninteresting it seemed. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you chalk that down to? I mean, I have only seen that first episode.
Yeah.
And it was something that was clearly close to his heart, which no one's begrudging him for. But there doesn't seem to be any jokes.
No.
Which is like, okay, we go to John Oliver or even Seth Meyers for a not a hot take, but like a comedic take, but a
smart but funny take on the world, right?
That's what we want. If he's not doing smart but funny, but he's just doing what, like impassioned take, he's doing like kind of like a version of like 60 Minutes or something.
That's
I
it,
don't
right?
really know.
Like I feel like there was a expectation versus reality disconnect where he might have wanted to make the investigative news story, which is about 30 minutes of interviews and detailed policy deep dives and that sort of stuff. But when you hear Jon Stewart new TV show and the way they were pitching it in terms of their ads, you're like, okay, it's him coming back to do the kind of wit and delight of what the Daily Show was. And I feel like they just totally misadvertised it or misbranded it because it's not that show. And I think from the fact that no one's talking about it, there is no one interested in that specific vibe from him. Not without either the comedic bits, as in the jokes within the monologues, or the sketches, the idea of your correspondence there to play a character or shine a light on something through absurdity or satire. There's no satire and there's no jokes.
If there's no satire and no jokes, there shouldn't be a show. You can't. He's not, and he would say this though. That's the thing. He would say, "Don't get your news from me."
Yeah,
that's what he would say on the Daily Show.
Yeah. I'm not a newsman.
So
you're totally right.
So keep it to the jokes have to be first and foremost. That's what Seth Meyers does so well with a closer look. It's funny. It doesn't work if it's not funny. Even these other late night guys, they keep it funny first and foremost. Like the jokes are there, and then it's going off the material. I mean, you don't want to begrudge someone from doing a passion project close to their heart, but I mean, maybe someone out there is really loving the show. Who knows? But it's not the old Jon Stewart that we know.
Yeah, and there was a moment, and maybe it's an experimental thing on that first episode. They were testing it out, and I don't know whether it's an ongoing trope. But
have you watched any more?
No, I haven't. And it's also fortnightly, which is such a weird schedule for that as well, because it's so easy to go, oh, I'll check out what John's. Oh, wait, no, it must be next week. Like that's such an odd timing. It also makes
their material less relevant because they're doing deeper work on one subject, but the material gets out of date real quick. It has a shelf life.
But that's the other thing which is interesting about it. I don't think they're even aiming for timeliness. Like the story they led off with, it wasn't current news.
Yeah. I mean, Jon Stewart does that. What's his name? John Oliver does that, but he incorporates it in with other topical,
Yeah, he starts with the monologue.
stuff.
To be fair,
he starts with the monologue.
to be fair, maybe because it was the pilot, they didn't do that up front because they were saying, "Hey, look, it's me, I'm back. Isn't this weird?" So maybe that's what that spot feels. Yeah. But the thing which I was alluding to earlier, which I found so odd and off-putting, was they were filming in the staff room. Like they were showing behind the scenes moments of like the staff talking through ideas and cracking themselves up and laughing at things. And one, those were not jokes that play to you, the viewer. But two, if it was funny, it's funny when nowhere else in the show were there jokes. Like it was so odd. And I was like, why are we seeing their thought process?
Yeah, this is the
formulating
comedy writers' room.
Yeah.
Did you put any of that in the show? No, we just had a great time behind the scenes talking about war veterans.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Bit of a disappointment, that one.
Maybe I should check out another one. Yeah.
Maybe we should give it one more go.
Yeah, now that there's been a few
as you
weeks.
said, no one's talking about it.
No one is talking about it. No, Jon Stewart came back to TV after a decade. Yeah. Maybe not a decade. 8 years, 7 years.
Yeah, I think it was. They're close to it.
And no one's talking about it. And I don't think it's just the Apple TV thing, because a lot of people talk about Ted Lasso. A lot of people talk about Foundation. A lot of people talk about Mythic Quest. No one is talking about Jon Stewart. Anyway.
No one's talking about John.
If you've liked this sort of thing, well, thank you very much. We appreciate the compliment. And there's plenty more that you'll be able to enjoy at your own leisure by going back in time through our feed. You can find previous episodes at deepfort.podbean.com. You can find our Facebook page with links to interesting things. Our Instagram with long clips. That's also on the Facebook as well if you're interested. And sounds over at soundcloud.com. We have Christmas carols coming up next week. So go back and relive those former moments of glory, and prepare yourselves because they're coming soon. And of course, as always, if you'd like to ask questions or leave comments, correct us, accuse us of slander, then you can do so at deepfort@gmail.com. We'll read it out.
So we've had a request for us to discuss. So Louis C.K. is up for a Grammy nomination.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction is, well, that's disappointing.
Right.
And then my second reaction was, well, Louis C.K. can put out whatever album he wants, right? Like he can release the audio to things. Go ahead. If someone wants to buy it, they can buy it. So I think my slightly second reaction, I suppose. My subsequent thought was, it's weird that the Grammys allowed this.
It is a bit weird.
I'm very curious because the Grammys, I don't know what your perception of them is. I've never watched them. It's not in the wheelhouse of things that I really care about. And yet I maintain a sense from, I guess, pop culture coverage that it's a fairly...
prestigious.
No, I was going to go the other way. Prestigious maybe, but also fairly manipulable or corporate or
You mean it's like the Golden Globes?
Yeah, it's a bit like if you pay enough money, you can sort of get yourself in there. Like a sense of impropriety or just it's not prestigious in the way that the Oscars have a degree of academic or industry rigor, if you like. I feel like the Grammys can be very easily persuaded or manipulated by lobbying from the record companies or that kind of stuff. Like I just had a sense it's a bit malleable.
Sure.
So
but wouldn't you say then that would almost work against Louis C.K. in this regard? Because if it's malleable, they want to steer away from any public backlash.
But what I mean by that is by big companies or labels or money, not like swaying the wind of public opinion so much as like, you know how getting on the Golden Globes seems to be as much about whining and dining, like going out and meeting the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for lunch.
Yeah.
And if you do that enough, then you can get any random show or comedy series or odd actor choice onto the list if you just sweet talk the 12 people that make up that board.
Yeah, The Tourist.
Yeah,
Do you
The
remember
Tourist.
that?
I knew there were dozens of weird examples of that kind of stuff, but yeah, The Tourist is a great call. Yeah. So in that respect, I guess to answer your question, one, I don't care about the Grammys. Two, I don't think they're particularly reputable to begin with. So ergo, three, I don't know that I'm really too fussed about it. But at the same time, if Louis C.K. walked away with a comedy album award this year, I'd be like, well, that's just fucked up though. I wouldn't be happy that it happened because I don't think he deserves to be lauded for his behavior.
Who decides the Grammys? Do we know that?
That's a good point. I don't think it's like
the peers.
No,
It is like, look, my thoughts on this whole Louis thing are well documented, so I won't go into that. But
like, what do you think about this specific situation?
Look, I think if the awards are a meritocracy, which they should be, which the Oscars are not, then I think in a meritocracy, then there's no issue whatsoever if we're just talking about the art. But we're clearly these days not talking just about the art. So I do find it interesting that they chose him. But if we are literally just talking about what the best album is, which I am not suggesting that any one of these award shows is doing, then anything should be up for grabs. But I do find it very interesting that, I mean, someone okayed this. There's also Chappelle up, which I don't know what your thoughts on him are with the trans stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think his opinions are wrong, but I don't think he's been accused of doing anything particularly, illegal.
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't think what Louis did was legal, but we won't get into that.
Well, yeah, that's fair. He hasn't been accused of assault, perhaps, is what I should frame it as. The entry process and selection of nominees for the Grammys. Basically, it is entered by the industry, so the media companies and the individuals can submit their own work. Then it's deemed to have been in the correct category or not, and then it's circulated to voting members, and the top 5 become nominees. So somewhere in that process, many hundreds or thousands of people had to look at the entries for Best Comedy Album and decide that Louis was good or one that they wanted in order for it to be there for the final votes. So
yeah.
I have to imagine that some of those are going to comedians, right?
Yeah.
So interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, because my impression of the Grammys has been always, and again, I've never watched the Grammys, but it's always just been like Taylor Swift and like, I don't know, the Backstreet Boys and shit. I don't know.
Sorry, what year did you watch?
The Jonas Brothers. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like that kind of like just mainstream bullshit.
Yeah. I mean,
but maybe comedy album is going to be different. It's going to be, if it sounds like comedians are voting for other comedians.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
Is that what we're talking about?
Well, it's unclear because it does say that some specialized categories and things and technical categories might be limited to those with technical knowledge. But I'm guessing that might be like sound best mixing or something might be there only for sound mixers to decide, right? Like, I don't know whether comedy is considered so specialized. Like, anyone can listen to a comedy album and either laugh at it or not, right? Like,
yeah, but who listens to comedy albums these days?
Well, that's a very good
point.
point.
No one listens to it. Like, it's people just associate comedy with Netflix now.
I mean,
comedy albums are an old school thing.
It's very true. I do wonder whether there is a reverse action thing here where it's such a niche category that maybe some of the people that care enough to put one of their only 9 out of 30 votes into the comedy category might actually want to make that choice because they want to see Louis get through.
Sure.
Versus those that dislike Louis are not going to actively choose to vote for one of the other nominees to make sure that he doesn't get in. You know, like perhaps him getting into the nominees is predictable, but now that he's in the top 5 and you're then tasked with the opportunity to vote for him or one of 4 others, you might see a lot of votes go the other way and he doesn't actually get it.
Yeah, no, I think you might be on the money there. And that would make sense as well with the Chappelle stuff. Like having 2, controversial guys get nominated. That's not I imagine behind the scenes of the Grammys, that's not something that is taken lightly.
Well, and the other thing is, I don't know what other comedy albums could have been nominated. Like, what else was there that was out,
Well, there's your Gatsby, and I guess there's...
But we don't know that Gatsby had a comedy album. She had a special, right? But that's not the same thing. Like, who's releasing a comedy album, and then who's choosing to nominate it for a Grammy? Like, it may not be that there were too many other nominees.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe he's just trying to sneak him between the cracks.
Have you listened to it?
Yeah.
Or watched the special or whatever it was?
I mean, I listened to it on Spotify.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And...
maybe it wasn't on Spotify. I think I bought it. I think it came with the thing that I bought. So
right.
you could listen to it. But I have listened to it.
And
like just the audio.
Yeah. Did you think it was funny? Is it album of the year? Is it the best thing you've seen?
I mean, look, yeah, he's the greatest living comedian that we have. It's hilarious. I mean, he's incredibly funny.
Yeah, interesting. And so you're past any of what he did?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
You're over it.
I'm over it, guys. Okay. Let's just forgive Louis. # forgive Louis.
It's a very unpalatable take.
You're going to close with that? Close it out with that, baby. Just do it.